I want to talk about the new Constitution I'm proposing. I love the current U.S. Constitution, but it's not able to protect itself as well. And our current government has grown way bigger than our Constitution allows. But because it doesn't have that protection, it has gotten bigger and doing things that it shouldn't do. So I am trying to rein it back in by having a new Constitution. My first section on the Constitution is going to be called, I have great preamble, by the way, but you can look at other videos to see the preamble and go to my website. But the first one is citizenship. For birthright citizenship, no. If you are born to a U.S. citizen, then you have automatic citizenship. And then to be a citizen, you have to sign the social contract. I call it a CRA, Competitive Regulatory Agency Social Contract for Competitive Government. In general laws, I just put a lot of things in there to make sure we are limiting how much government power can do and make sure we have the civil liberties and the like. The bylaws just means every organization within government has to have a good set of bylaws to run government well. And that's whether you want a significantly lower government through competitive governments. You can have significantly more government or significantly lower government, and your government controls you and only their members. And obviously there has to be some monopolized government that controls everybody, but that is less than 10% of what we currently do. We got federal, state, and local, and deciding what's going on there. And most of the power goes away from the federal. The federal only gets the foreign protection system sectors of government, and the military, the commander-in-chief, the diplomats, and then the rest of it has very little. So very little police powers, but they still have the FBI and the like. But that's going to be limited. It's going to have the federal will have almost no control over education and a lot of different things that they currently have. They won't have hardly any control over the welfare system. That's going to go back to the state. So there's a lot in there for federal, state, and local, where it returns a lot of power to the state, that allows the state to give some power back up to the federal government and give local governments power. Original authority is really a big part of this Constitution. It shows where I believe the power should be at the highest level, at the base level. Supermajority, I want 70% to do most things that through a monopolized government. So monopolized government needs to be 70%, unless you're talking about the military. And you have to create a rule of law. So there's a couple things that must happen that doesn't need to be 70%, but the vast percentage needs to be that much. The parent sector board, just make sure it's a constitutionally minded board, then make sure the whole system stays within the structure that it creates. The sector boards are monopolized government per area of government, such as the areas of different governments would be education or the police or the military. So it has a monopolized over there, but that can only get power that if it cannot be handled by the competitive governments. So if you are a part of a competitive government that's handling the issue okay, then the monopolized government doesn't get to control you. And that's different for every sector of government, different areas of government. The rating system will mean a lot less monopolized government. It deals with corruption, fraud, self-dealing, and the like. Taxation, it deals with the taxation part of it. It's a big part of it. We are in massive debt as a country, mostly in federal government, and this tells us how we can get out of debt by a lot there. The pockets of freedom, how a big part of the foreign policy and allowing people to escape into pockets outside of America, pockets that American military would control. We get it legitimately, negotiations and the like, to create pockets where people can flee into from oppressed governments. So states partial acceptance per sector. I want this thing to pass, so I will relent and now allow certain states to not take the full amount of competitive governments and lose all their monopolized control. But hopefully, most people will not take us up on that. But I want to give a way for this to happen. Then we separate all government responsibilities into 30 sectors. That's so important part of this Constitution. And a lot more to see at Haley2024.org. Oh, here's the 30 sectors. Let's talk about that for a second. 5 in the charity system, we get rid of welfare altogether. 5 in the foreign protection system, that's at the federal level. That's where they have primary original authority. 5 in the violent crime mitigation system, we talk about the prosecutors, the law enforcement officers, the court system, an authorization agency, the prison system. Then we have 15 different sectors dealing with healthcare, the financing, the insurance, food, education. All these things are really, really important in how we separate all government power. And we're going to have separate governments over each one of these. So no one person is going to be in charge of, let's say, police and the military. So right now, a president is the top commander in chief for the military and also top of the FBI. He's also top of the environmental controls, top of the prison for the federal prisons. Not anymore. We're going to have, let's say, 30 different presidents, one for each one of these, each one with different levels of power depending on what that sector is. Again, most of that's going to go down to the state level. So this will be the top level for the governor as well. 30 different governors, 30 different mayors, 30 different sets of town councils, 30 different state legislative offices, each for each one of the 30 sectors. So it's a new idea that can be profoundly done. It's all done within the Constitution, where you got more liberty, better results. I believe it will have better results, more respect for government, and a lot more there. Until the next video.